Hey, what's up guys? Nintenjoel here once again, and it's time for a really cool idea for a video that is not mine, obviously, but this idea did not come from gaming channels. It actually came from music channels that I've been watching a lot lately, specifically metal channels that have been showing off their top 10 or top 15 or top 20 rarest or most expensive albums according to Discogs, where you can actually input your entire collection and you can find out what your most expensive stuff is, how much your entire collection is. It's basically just like Gameye, which is for gaming, but for music, and I'm in the process of actually adding all my stuff onto Discogs so I can do some videos about that, which will be really cool on my metal channel. However, I thought it'd be really neat to do this on my gaming channel and do it with games instead. I'm sure tons of people have already done this idea before. I've probably even watched videos of it before, but not recently. I don't remember them. But basically, we're going to go by price charting. Well, we're going to go by Gameye, which uses price charting, which isn't the most 100% reliable source for video game prices and values. However, it is very close, and most stuff, it's pretty accurate. If anything, it's usually a little bit on the low side following current trends. However, I just wanted to point this out, that I know there's going to be some people that watch this video, they're going to be like, nice flex, bro. You know, when I was watching the metal videos, it never came across as flexing with them because they were really into the music that they were showing. The one guy, man, I can't remember his channel name right now, Explosive Action, I believe his name is. He's really into death metal, and he's into really obscure death metal albums, and you can tell he really loves them. And, you know, it's just a cool subject, and if you think it's a flex, cool, go watch something else. I really don't care. It's not that big of a deal. These are games that I love, and besides 1 out of these 10 games, I have played the shit out of them and enjoyed the shit out of them. So let's get straight into it with number 10. At number 10, we have Evo Search for Eden, coming in at $309 for a loose copy of this on Super Nintendo. Holy crap, I got this a long time ago, and it's funny, Evo has gone up and down many times through the years, but it's funny, it always seems to eventually end up back at about $300. And I've seen this game go for a lot less, but here it is again. Side-scrolling RPG game where you start out as a fish, and you eat other fish to gain experience, and then with that experience you can upgrade parts of your body, and then eventually you make your way on the land, and yada yada yada. It's actually kind of a hard game if you don't choose the right body parts to actually level up, so or I guess to switch to when you level up. So I've never actually beaten Evo. Have you guys? It's a fun game. It's a really fun game. I recommend it. However, I've never beaten it, and I've always wanted to. But $309 for a loose cart is freaking stupid. And same with this next game, also a Super Nintendo loose cart. We've got Earthbound for $320. Now, Earthbound is a freaking great game, and I really do think it's up to people wanting to keep this game around, not so much rarity. Earthbound is not rare. Go look on eBay, you'll find plenty of copies. Go to a convention, you'll find plenty of copies. They're just expensive, and people don't really want to let go of them. I don't know what's up with the overly inflated price of this, but this game also has gone up and down quite a bit. I remember back in the day, one of my friends had 3 copies of this, and at the time it was worth like $130, $135. We're talking like 7 or 8 years ago, and he couldn't get rid of them. And previous to that, it had been worth well over $200, but it was like really fluctuating a lot back then. And now it's solidly at $320 and rising slightly, seems like every so often. At number 3, going backwards, number 8, we've got Suikoden 2 coming in at $353 for a complete in box copy like mine. Mine is legit like mint. Looks like it was opened and never played. And, to be honest, it has not been played much, not by me. This is the one game I was talking about that I have not put a ton of time into, and that's because I've never actually beaten the first Suikoden. Despite playing quite a bit of the first Suikoden, I've never actually beaten it for some reason. Another game that I've just kind of put down over the years, and I have a huge backlog of RPGs. I'm always going through RPGs, but it's on my list of games to beat Suikoden 1 so I could actually play Suikoden 2. I've really pretty much just tested that game, but I didn't even need to. It was in such mint shape, but I am looking forward to one day sinking my teeth into this game. As for the rest of these games, played the crap out of them. So $353 for a complete in-box copy of Suikoden 2, which is crazy. That game's always been rare, but it's risen sharply since COVID. and maybe even slightly before COVID. Sitting at number 7 is one of those games you probably don't see every day. A lot of these games you're probably going to be familiar with, but this one, you know, maybe a lot of people aren't familiar with it. And then a Shining Force CD on the Sega CD, sitting solidly at $376 for a complete in-box copy, which this is actually complete in box. It even has its little foamy. It's got its little brick foam, which is pretty cool. But yeah, really neat tactical RPG. If you're not familiar with the Shining Force games, you should definitely get into them. Shining Force 1 and 2 are definitely some of my favorite tactical RPGs of all time. Shining Force CD is basically just more of that. Long story short, this game has 2 Game Gear games on it, ported to the Sega CD, which are Shining Force Gaiden, Shining Force Gaiden 2, and then there's also 2 additional missions that can be unlocked after those have been beaten, so if you beat the games in the proper order. But yeah, Shining Force CD, really cool if you like tactical action RPG stuff. Moving on, did I even mention how much that was worth? Did I mention how much that was worth? I think I did. $376 for a complete box copy of that. Ridiculous. This game has always been expensive, though. Anything on Sega CD that's like, or like Saturn that's like RPG related, it's gonna be expensive. Almost everything. Okay, sitting at number 6, we've got a game that I've owned twice. The first time I owned it, I traded it for my copy of Chrono Trigger many years ago. I still have that copy of Chrono Trigger, and it was one of those trades that I always kind of regretted, but not too much, because I did get Chrono Trigger. But the value on Valkyrie Profile rose way above Chrono Trigger. Back then, they were equal values, and we're talking like 20 years ago. But yeah, Valkyrie Profile on PlayStation 1, an amazing RPG with side-scrolling action, and you're trying to get souls to Valhalla so they can participate in Ragnarok, which is basically the end of the world, and Valkyrie Profile's really cool. Story, art, presentation, everything about it. Valkyrie Profile is a winner, but unfortunately it's a $385 winner complete in box, so kind of crazy. You know, go out, buy a copy, run out and get it, no big deal. It's only $385. Next on the list, at number 5, we've got a real winner here. This might actually be a surprise to some people. This one, actually, of all the top 10 games on this list, might be the most surprising, especially complete in box. This game has risen a lot in recent times, and that is Super Adventure Island 2 on Super Nintendo. This game's more expensive than the Final Fantasies on Super Nintendo. This game's more expensive than the Breath of Fire's complete in box on Super Nintendo. This game's more expensive than Mario RPG. Super Adventure Island 2 is an amazing game that is unlike all the other Adventure Island games in the fact that it's more Metroidvania. You get to actually go back and forth and explore. Items unlock different areas. You are able to equip different weapons and armor. Really, really fun game. It's got an overhead map, not unlike Mario World, and a soundtrack that's like tropical and addictive as hell. Super Adventure Island 2 is a real winner, but it's really surprising that this game is now worth $390 complete box. $390 complete box. When I got this, it was worth like $120, and that wasn't that many years ago. It's freaking crazy. Mine is complete in box, however, my manual on this has a rental sticker on it, which is actually kind of cool, but it is beat up a little bit too. The box and game are freaking super nice. That's why it's in Protector. Protect them games. Okay, so Super Adventure Island 2, $390. Moving up just $12, we get to a Sega Master System game that is really, really fun, and that is Golden Axe Warrior. A super awesome, I'm just going to say it, Zelda clone. However, if you look at the visuals on this game, man, you will see that I give Zelda quite the run for its money. And it's got a little bit of a cool story and very overhead view, very Zelda-ish, and just super, super fun. I love that it's Golden Axe Warrior, but he's got a freaking sword. But yeah, so this game's not worth what it's worth without that UPC sticker. That is actually very important. If you don't have that UPC sticker, then you've got, what, a European copy of it, I believe? I'm not sure if the cart is a different color or the sticker on the cart is a different color. It might be blue, but I can't remember. This is actually legit the only copy of this game I've ever run across, and I got a screaming deal on it. Basically, I paid $100 for it cash, plus a few NES games that weren't even, like, really uncommon or anything like that. I got a screaming deal on it back then, but now looking at the price, for $402 for a complete in-box copy, what I paid for this is just stupid. So get yourself a copy. No big deal. Golden Axe Warrior on the Master System, a great Zelda clone, not unlike Newtopia on TurboGrafx 16. Both really fun stuff and very similar. Sitting at number 3, we've got an amazing overhead shoot-'em-up on the Nintendo, and of course we're talking about Gun-Knack. An amazing game, and this was an amazing gift from my friend Kevin. You are amazing, Kevin. This is probably the best shoot-'em-up on the Nintendo. I don't even think I could say probably. This is the best shoot-'em-up on Nintendo. This is up there with Rekka, which is a Famicom game. Super high speed, lots of crazy stuff going on screen at once, fast action, amazing performance. You can almost hear your Nintendo creaking, straining, and trying not to catch on fire from trying to process everything going on at this game at once. It's really, really cool and definitely a super fun shoot-'em-up. What's nice about Gun-Knack also is it's not one of those shoot-'em-ups that's absolutely impossible from the start. It's got a nice curve to it, at least for the first few levels, and it's definitely something that you can enjoy even if you're not great at shoot-'em-ups, such as myself. Yeah, so next at number 2, I didn't mention, so this game was $1 more expensive than this game. This one's sitting at $402, Gun-Knack sitting at $403 according to price charting, which is really funny. $1 more. So you got to decide, do you want to spend that extra dollar for Gun-Knack? You're going to be a cheapskate and go for Golden Axe Warrior. What you gonna do? Sitting at number 2, $430. If you guys knew how much I got this game for, you would be like, what? First of all, I didn't get this game by itself. I got it with its sequel at the same time, and I paid, I believe, it was like $80 or $90 plus shipping for both of them, because the second one had some damage, and you have to understand this was a really, really long time ago. I bought it on Amazon, and these games were not worth what they are worth now. Crazy what this is worth now. $430 for Revelations Persona, the first Persona game on PlayStation, and a real gem in my opinion. This game gets way too much crap. It is not respected enough. People bitch about the map. Ooh, it's too simplistic. Who cares? The map on Super Adventure Island 2 is super simplistic. Who cares? Because it's a triangle representing your character, it makes it a bad game? No. Recruiting demons in this can be very difficult, but it's very rewarding. Super fun. Shin Megami Tensei action. I mean, it's just... it's so good. I love the atmosphere, I love the music, I love everything about the way it sounds, the echoiness, and just, again, the atmosphere. There's nothing like the darkness of Revelations Persona, and it is truly one of the games I'm very proud to own and love. $430, however, for a complete box copy, you know, geez, you might want to find a different way to play it. And sitting at number 1, before we get into number 1, I am on Twitch. I stream RPGs, Metroidvanias, and adventure games. That's twitch.tv/Nintenjoel. Be sure to check me out there. Chat's hilarious. I mean, that's a good reason to go, right? Okay, so number 1. Can you believe that the number 1 game I have in my collection is a loose cartridge? A lot of people know what this is that have watched my channel for a long time. But some of you might not, and they might not be aware of how much this game has risen in recent years, but that is Crusader of Senti on Sega Genesis, sitting in at $641 for a loose cart. And I'm lucky. My cart is super clean. This is the second one I've actually owned. My other one had a torn label. I ended up trading it. It was a trade that I completely regretted, and fortunately a couple years later I got this cart. A complete in-box copy is just out of range for me. Like I said, there's nothing absolutely crazy. I don't have stadium events. I don't have a championship card or anything like that. But this, to me, is pretty crazy. A $641 game for a loose card. And this is a Zelda... Okay, look. A lot of people call this a Zelda clone. I don't want to call this a Zelda clone. There are things that are very similar about this to, like, Link to the Past, for instance. It's a 16-bit adventure game, top-down view, you're a boy with a sword, you're slashing into plants and things like that. Yes, it can look a lot like Zelda, but that's where the similarities end. There's a lot more dialogue in this game, there's a lot more variety in this game as far as what you do okay, let me put it this way. There's animal companions that you get, and they help you along. Some can help you jump, some can help you glide. They all have different abilities, and they all join your little quest. And it does make it stand out quite a bit from Legend of Zelda. It feels a little bit more RPG-ish to me, but Crusader of Senti, a very good game. I'm not sure that it's so good, though, that it's worth $641. That is absolutely crazy. I would love to know what you guys' top 10 most expensive, rarest games are in the comments. That would be amazing. Please leave a comment, even if it's your top 5, that would be rad. And more than that, any YouTubers watching this, I know there's YouTubers watching this, get on Gameye. Figure out what your top 10 video games are as far as rarity, as far as price, and do a response video. That would be amazing. That would be so freaking cool. I will push the video. I'll put it on social media. As for this video, it was a lot of fun, and I'm going to do other ones on specific systems. So you will see a top 5 rarest games on Super Nintendo as far as my collection, NES, PlayStation, TurboGrafx, all that stuff. So if you want to see that, leave a comment down below. Be sure to check me out on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Nintenjoel. You guys rule. Thank you so much for watching. Much love, and keep rocking the retro games.